Welcome to this video on how to play chess for beginners. Now, this video is for someone who knows nothing about chess, and at the end of the video, you'll know how to play your first game, and even get a win. Now, we're going to start with where to play. I recommend two sites. This is chess.com, and the second site is leechess.org. Both are great to use, both are free to use. Leechess is great for the puzzles. Puzzles are unlimited, completely free, don't have to pay for anything. Chess.com, although I think it's a better site, you do have to pay to unlock all of its features, but both are great. Definitely use both. Let's begin with the board. Now, we're going to use Leechess, and we're going to go to board editor and clear the board. So chess is played on 64 squares in an 8x8 grid like this. As you can see, half of the squares are a dark color, the other half are a light color. Now, you know your board is set up correctly if the bottom right corner is a light square. That's also the H1 square. So all of the squares have their own coordinates. This is H1, and you can tell this is the A file, B file. So all the vertical columns are letters of the alphabet, and the numbers are the horizontals. This is first, second, and they're called ranks. My favorite square is the C4 square, explosive. And now we know about the board, let's look at the pieces. So this is how the board is set up. The queen is on her own color, queen and king in the center, then the bishops, the knights, and at the end the rooks. And we have all the pawns on the second and seventh ranks like that. So let's look at the first piece. The most important piece is the pawn. No, the king. The king is the most important because the object of chess is to try and get your king, the opponent's king, into a position where they can't move anywhere and they've been attacked. That's checkmate. The reason why I've included a pawn here is because if this wasn't on the board, the computer would not allow me to move because it would be a stalemate. You cannot you cannot do anything if it's just two kings, because the kings, as you can see, can't go next to each other, so they can't capture each other. A king can move one square in any direction, and like I said, they can't attack each other, and you want to keep them safe. Alright, so let's look at the next piece. The most important, I think, after the king is the pawn. The reason why I think that is because the pawns give us direction in our game. They can move 2 or 1 square in the beginning from their starting positions on the second and seventh rank, but they can't move back. So once you've moved forward, you can't move back with the pawn. And after they've moved the first 2, that's an option. They can only move 1 forward, but they can't attack forward. So if I pushed here and we pushed here, I can't capture this pawn in front of me. You can only capture diagonally. So if we look here, this pawn can capture diagonally like that. So you capture diagonally, you move forward vertically. And the other important thing to note here is if I move my pawn like this, and you can capture here, but you can also, even though it looks like I've jumped past you, there's a special move called en passant, which means you can capture me on that same turn as if I just moved 1 square forward. So that's a very important rule to know. And then the other important rule to know is that when you get your pawn to the opposite side of the board, you can promote. And you can promote to any piece, a queen, a knight, a rook, or a bishop. Usually you promote to a queen in this case. Some cases you want to promote to other things, but a queen is the most powerful piece, and we'll look at that soon enough. But first, let's look at the rooks. The rooks are at the corner of the board, and the reason why I'm showing these now is because they're really simple to know. They move vertically as far as they want, or horizontally, but you can't capture your own piece, and you can't move past your own piece. But you can capture the other person's piece. They can't move this because they're in check. They're being attacked. So they have to save their king, and then afterwards we can take this. Now I'm going to show you a very simple checkmate with a rook, 2 rooks should I say, is what's called the ladder mate. So we want to cut off the king from moving anywhere down the board, and then what we want to do is get the king on the back rank, and this is called a ladder mate. And this is the goal in chess, is to stop the king from moving anywhere. And now you are checking them. That's called checkmate. And next piece we're going to be looking at is the bishop. Bishops move diagonally. As you can see here, this bishop's on a dark square, so it can only move diagonally on dark squares. This is on a light square, can only move on light squares. And the combination of these two moves is the queen. That's why the queen's so powerful. It can move horizontally, vertically, diagonally as far as she wants. And that's why she's so powerful. And is very, very useful in checkmating the king. This is a very common tactic, is to get the king into the side of the board. So like this, and then we can bring our king. So now they can't move anywhere. The queen is just keeping them in this cage, and we want to get our king alongside, because you can't checkmate without any help. And so now this is very, very common checkmating pattern. And finally, we're going to look at the knight. Knight moves in what's called an L shape, 2 in one direction and 1 in the other. So it can move to like that, or it can move like that, and these are all the options. And as you'll notice that the knight, they can protect each other, whereas the bishops can't help each other out. So that's kind of a key distinction there. But you should know everything now to play your first game. So we'll go back to chess.com and we'll say play. Now we could play against a human being, and we can choose, do we want to play with 1 minute, or do we want to play with, let me show you, sorry. Do we want to play with 1 minute plus 1 second for each move, or we want to play 10 minutes just flat out. But I think for this example, let's play against the computer, and we'll choose an easy computer. Now, as you can see, I haven't unlocked everything on chess.com. This is my free account. And but we'll go against Martin. He's the easiest computer to play against. Now, this is the rating of the computer. As you can see here, this is my rating on chess.com, 1321. That's called the ELO. It's named after Man Elo, who basically devised the system of rating players. As you can see, I'm quite a lot stronger than Martin. The best computer bot to go against is probably someone like Hikaru, who's 2820. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the range of ratings. So let's go against Martin, and we'll play as the white. White always goes first. So let's play with white, and let's try and get a quick game. So let's move this pawn here and do what's called the scholar's mate. Now the scholar's mate is getting the bishop here, and let's go here, and that's a great move. So let's try and attack this knight. Let's attack the knight like this, and we are still trying to checkmate. How's that? Oh, he's playing very well. Can we get rid of this knight? We can. And are we going to get the checkmate? Oh, so close. So close. Let's do this. I'm not playing super brilliant chess right now, but this is very close. Very close. We'll go, let's take this first, and then what to do now? Let's just attack a rook, because the computer's not really playing like a human would play. A human would try and save their piece that's hanging. Let's go here and just try and get to the king with our piece. Mate in 2. So the computer, so this over here on the side is called the evaluation bar, and basically it's telling you that, say for example in this position, we have an advantage of 3.3. Now all the pieces have their own rating. So pawn is rated, is valued at 1. That's like the base unit. The knights and the bishops are valued at 3, the rook at 5, and the queen at 9. And obviously the king is sort of, priceless. And so in this position, it's saying that we have an advantage of 3.3 pawns, basically. But at this situation here, we have checkmate in 2. So let's figure out how we can checkmate in 2. The king can't move here or here. So it's probably this check, and then yeah, we can checkmate like this. Brilliant. Defended by the bishop and checking like this, and can't take its own piece. So that's all you need to know to play chess. The last thing I'll say is to improve, play games, analyze. So if you look over here, we can analyze this game. It actually was giving us an analysis throughout the game, but when you're playing real people, analyze your games afterwards, see what the computer says you should have done, and try and sort of figure out why the computer's recommending that. You can also look at people online. Gotham Chess, this is a Gotham Chess fan page, so I would check out his videos, definitely explain a lot of stuff. And finally, do your puzzles. So for example, you can go here to Lee Chess. You can also learn, it'll teach you the basics, as well as chess.com. It'll give you lessons and stuff like that. But do your puzzles every day, and that will give you sort of an idea of tactics and things to do. So in this position here, we've got to find the best move for black, and let's see what we can do. Probably just take this, because they can't take, we would take their queen, and then now we take this, because if they take, then we would if they take this, then we would take the queen. So it just kind of gives you ideas for what to implement in the game. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck playing chess.